Well, I'm very excited to be here with Amy and Hannah from Stonefield. Thanks to both of you for being here. And we're at the Starry Nights Festival here in basically the Live Oak campgrounds. You guys just got done playing your set. It was really awesome. Amy, tell me a little bit about how things went today.
Yeah, it was good. It's kind of nice to go from playing in venues to like an outdoor festival kind of vibe. It's so pretty here. It's nice to kind of be in the fresh air and play in daylight, get some vitamin D. It's been really nice.
Well, Hannah, I wanted to ask you, you kind of echo her sentiments. Things are going well. Today was a great performance. Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. It's really nice being out in the fresh air.
Nice. Very cool. Well, the reason I'm actually here interviewing both of you, I have to say, is we had the pleasure of, we interviewed the guys from, Chris from Meat Puppets this last week at the Echo in Los Angeles. You guys were there and you guys opened, and I got to see you guys perform live, and I was really blown away. And when I heard that you were going to be here, I really was compelled to come interview you because I was so impressed. Seeing you live, just so amazing. And I don't even know how you describe it, but just the really kind of straight ahead, a psychedelia element that seems really unique. And what's it been like? You guys on this tour have been playing, for the most part, West Coast at least, with the Meat Puppets. What's that been like? Were you familiar with their work before you went on tour?
Honestly, we weren't that familiar with it.
Honest. I respect that. Yeah.
But yeah, we definitely, like, when it was sort of being offered and talked about, we were kind of like reading up about it, and it's pretty amazing, like how much of an influential band they are, and how much music they've put out, and it's been really fun and really interesting. And it's actually really funny because after we do this tour, we're supporting King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, so I feel like it's two completely different audiences, which is so great for us to do both of those while we're here. But it's kind of funny because I feel like our audience at home is like a mesh of like Meat Puppets audiences and King Gizzard audiences. So it's kind of, it's nice. It's been really fun. They're a really amazing band.
Very cool. And how about you, Hannah? Touring with Meat Puppets, are those guys fun to be around? A little crazy, a little interesting, right?
Yeah, they are interesting, but really, really lovely, and really welcoming to us. So it's been really nice.
Yeah. Here, at least, in the U.S., I mean, they're definitely considered legends. The Kurt Cobain connection, of course, and just their influence going way back. Definitely original artists, for sure. And speaking of artists and other influences, I wanted to ask you guys about influences for you musically. More specifically, what were some of the, going way back, what were some of the first albums you listened to? Maybe the first album or CD in this case that you purchased back in the day?
Yeah, I think the first album I bought was a Kings of Leon album.
Okay, good choice.
Was really into them for a long time. We also, I guess, like when we first started, we were really influenced by a lot of our parents' records.
Okay. Like what, for example?
A lot of like Zeppelin, Hendrix, Fleetwood Mac. Our dad is a huge Frank Zappa fan, so we grew up with a lot of that.
I could see that in your guitar sound. I mean, there are some heavy riffs in there. I could see the Zeppelin influence. And speaking of Fleetwood Mac, word on the street is you guys actually did some opening shows for Fleetwood Mac. Yeah. Wow. Tell us about that.
It was completely surreal. We did 3 shows with them. It was huge audiences, and they just blew us away every night. We were literally crying tears of joy watching their set, so it was cool.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow, so that's a big one. And so getting back to your parents' record collection, you have early memories of just flipping through the records or the CDs or whatnot, and just being exposed to some really classic stuff that was crucial in forming your own sort of artistic vision, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. Our first songs that we covered were Hendrix and Zeppelin and that sort of thing. So, I feel pretty lucky that we grew up with some pretty cool bands on the record. Yeah.
That's very impressive. And so, Amy, I'm going to ask you the same question. I already heard what your parents were playing, so I got the answer to that, I think, for the most part. Unless you totally disagree and want to say, Zeppelin sucked. I always hated when my dad played that. No, we won't go there. But for you, first album that you ever purchased, like with your own money? And sometimes it's an embarrassing one, like a guilty pleasure, and that's okay. I always ask artists this question, so you have to answer it.
That's a really hard one to remember.
You might remember the first couple albums that's, around that time maybe, or...
Gosh, I don't even know. When I was a kid, I obviously like listen to some pretty bad music.
And like I said, there's kind of the embarrassment factor of, yeah.
Yeah, but I actually don't know if I could remember. Do you remember what I was listening to?
Is she trying to avoid the answering an embarrassing question? Okay.
Because I do remember she bought me once a Guy Sebastian single. He was like an Australian from like a talent show, like a pop star sort of guy, which is questionable. Yeah.
That's pretty good. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't know. I actually can't remember, but yeah, I don't know. I think that also we probably didn't actually go out and buy as much music as we should have as kids, because we literally always had music on in our house. And like looking back now, like I feel totally like so fortunate to have had that. Like I don't think that we really realized at the time how amazing that was.
What a privilege it was.
Yeah.
Any other bands, more contemporary bands that were influential in you guys sort of like figuring out your sound, or?
Yeah, definitely. We love like, I don't know, we love like psych rock, stoner rock, Witch, Dunyan, Brian Jonestown, Black Rebel, Uncle Acid. I don't know, there's so much great music out there, it's hard to pinpoint it all, but yeah, all that kind of stuff.
All right, very cool. Well, I wanted to talk to you guys about your latest album, the one that came out last year, As Above, So Below, and that's been pretty darn successful. You guys placed 19th on the Australian music charts. That's no small feat, so pretty cool. Were you pretty pleased with the last album? What does it represent in terms of the progression of the sound of Stonefield?
I feel like it's an album that has captured what we've always wanted to sound like, but just could never fully do it properly.
Oh, is that because of budgetary restraints, production, not having the production, or just skill set? You guys got to a point where you could pull off certain things that you couldn't do before.
I feel like it was just a skill thing, learning how to write music that we like listening to, sort of thing. Yeah, I guess it's like a natural thing. As a musician, the more you write, the more you like your music, the more you sort of progress and feel, I guess, happier with what you've created. Nice. So yeah, like at this stage, I'm sure we'll probably think differently by the next album, yeah, we're just really happy that it's like something that we sort of envisioned hearing at the end of it.
It was an artistic vision that actually manifested as you wanted it to do, which is hard sometimes.
Yeah, for sure.
And Amy, how about you?
Yeah, I think it's definitely like a huge development for us, especially because like we were so young when we started. Yeah. And as like a young person, you change and grow so much every year. So I think it was like a really big step forward for us. Like as Hannah said, it definitely feels more like who we want to be rather than our first album. We hate our first album.
Aren't artists a lot? Really? Is that really? Okay.
It's terrible.
So don't buy it, burn it. No, we'd never say that. I mean, it represents a first step in a journey of artistic creation, and that first step is really important. Yeah. We'll save it like that. But so tell me. So I don't want to ask too much about that, but just what was it about this second album then that just you felt more true to yourself? You felt like more free to develop, explore certain sounds production-wise, or just that the lyricism and the cohesion of the group was inherently more tight this last round?
Well, it's definitely a combination of, as Hannah said, having like the more skills to actually execute what you want to do, but also just like getting to the point of like really knowing who we are and what we want to do and who we want to be.
Gotcha.
Because I think like with our first album, so in Australia we have like this one national radio station that's like, you know, the thing, Triple J, and we won an
kind of
Unearthed.
like the BBC of Australia, kind of, yeah.
Yeah. So we were like unearthed by that station. We won Triple J Unearthed High. I mean, we were playing for a few years before that, but we were still so young when that happened, and like a lot happened really quick, and we were still kind of, I think, trying to get our head around the whole thing.
Yeah. Whirlwind kind of situation.
Yeah, and just also like, I think that we felt as though everyone around us was sort of like had a better idea. We're like, you know, had been in the industry for a long time, and I guess like took everyone's direction really seriously, which I mean, obviously people, you know, trying to help you out and giving their opinion and stuff, it is all important, and you should take it in to a certain extent. But
it's hard, but everybody has an opinion, right? So it's sort of like you want to not get pulled in too many directions, I'd imagine. But.
Yeah, and like when you're young, you just like you take everything in, you process it, and you still feel like you don't know yourself as much as you are going to. And so for the second album, we definitely were at the point where like we know who we are, we know what we want to do, and we're not going to worry too much about everything else. So that's what feels so different. It feels like we were kids when we released our first album. So it's exciting. We feel like even now, like we're learning so much more and we have more to give. So we're excited for the next one.
Well, speaking of the next one, is there any little tidbits that you all can give us about? You mentioned an upcoming tour. Very excited about that. But in terms of new work, new studio work, any tips for the fans out there, Hannah?
Of what we're doing next?
Yeah, little sneak peeks or something.
Well, we're writing lots, so hopefully it won't be too much longer before we have something else ready to go. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Even like now, there's a definite progression again from As Above, So Below. So
we can expect the next Stonefield album. We can definitely expect I don't want to say a maturing sound, because that sometimes sounds kind of boring when people say, "Oh, this is the more mature album." It's like, but there's definitely
it's more interesting.
Yeah.
Again, maybe. I don't know. You'll have to see.
All right. I bet it will be more interesting. And all the fans out there, we're definitely looking forward to that. And if you have a chance to see these guys live on tour, definitely check them out. I was very impressed. Not something that I always am with openers. So definitely check out Stonefield. And to you both, best of luck and take care.
Thank you.